So they're doing it. I wasn't wrong a couple weeks ago when I said that there was a leak that Jason Hudson might be making a return. As it turns out, he indeed is. But it looks like they might actually be doing it right. Unlike previous years where they just willy-nilly bring back characters and say they weren't in that tank, they weren't in that explosion, his head didn't get actually blown off. This time, it appears as though they might actually be doing the right thing. And if you don't know what happened, today we got the final cinematic, the ending cinematic for season 2. And with it, it changes everything.
Woods. This better be good. We're in deep shit here. What am I looking at?
A few years back, when I finally got out of the hospital, this was waiting on my doorstep. Asshole was still doing his job from the fucking grave. Never did work out what it meant. But now I'm wondering, did he figure out the Pantheon silver bullet all the way back in '89? Take a look. That old bastard was one step ahead all along.
So first of all, I just need to say this. Number one, they're bringing back Adler, because as of right now, there wasn't like a normal skin for Russell Adler within Black Ops 6. So it appears as though 6 months after the launch of the game, we might be getting some sort of a normal Adler within Black Ops 6 multiplayer, which is good to see. But story-wise, how does this make sense at all? Well, starting out at the beginning of season 2. So at the beginning of season 2, we basically had our rogue Black Ops agents, which included Savati Dumas and Troy Marshall. They essentially got put out as a bounty, a $1 million bounty. So all of the crime families in Avalon were chasing after them. The last thing we knew is that they were chasing after Troy Marshall and Savati Dumas. Meanwhile, they were not running away. They were trying to kill the head of the syndicates to stop all of this from going on. So we still don't know what has happened with this. However, it appears as though Russell Adler has shown up in Avalon and got some interesting information from Frank Woods revolving around Jason Hudson. So to understand what went on there, we first have to understand what happened with Jason Hudson. And to that, we have to go back to the year 1989. December 20th of 1989, the Panama invasion is going on, and by now all of you should know what happens here. But essentially they end up capturing someone by the name of Manuel Noriega and end up doing a prisoner exchange. The person who they think they end up capturing is someone by the name of Raul Menendez, a drug dealer, a gun runner, and an all-around really, really bad person. And they think they finally have a shot to take where they can kill him. However, Raul Menendez pulls a fast one on them, switches out the prisoner for Alex Mason. So when Frank Woods pulls that trigger, it is not Raul Menendez under that hood, it is his best friend Alex Mason, and he kills him. But when Frank Woods finds out, he is too late. Raul Menendez shoots him in both kneecaps and then pulls them into a room alongside David Mason, Alex Mason's son, and that of Jason Hudson. Here is what ends up happening to Hudson.
Now one more must die. You, Woods, or David. Make a decision now, or in 10 seconds you're all dead.
Woods, I can't. I have 2 kids. They...
Fuck! Okay, me! Do it! Do it! Your life will be consumed by absolute loss.
So clearly, Jason Hudson died in Panama in the year 1989, specifically on December 20th. So how are we saying he is making a return? Well, if you pay close attention to what Frank Woods says, there's a couple important things there. Number one, this.
A few years back, when I finally got out of the hospital, This was waiting on my doorstep.
So what he's referring to there is getting out of the hospital 2 years ago is after he was shot in the knees by Raul Menendez and after Jason Hudson was killed, like we just discussed. But that's not the important part.
Asshole was still doing his job from the fucking grave. Never did work out what it meant. But now I'm wondering, did he figure out the Pantheon silver bullet all the way back in '89?
So this tape was waiting for Woods when he got home out of the hospital. In other words, Jason Hudson was already sending it to him before the Panama invasion. Now, the tape is also dated 11/21/89 or November 21st, 1989. In other words, about 1 month before the Panama invasion. Now, this date is incredibly important because this date has nothing on it. So let's go back a little bit further, because before the Panama invasion, the big war, the world event that our CIA agents, our Black Ops agents were a part of was the Afghanistan war, specifically the Soviet-Afghan war. This ranged from December 24th, 1979, all the way up until February 15th, 1989. But during one of the scenes where you actually end up capturing Kravchenko, a character from back in Black Ops 1, we end up finding out this while we are interrogating him.
He's more powerful than you know. He even has people in the CIA.
Bullshit! This guy's fucking with us.
So immediately you can see how defensive Jason Hudson gets when we find out that Raul Menendez has people within the CIA. Now it is 20 days later where our characters, Frank Woods, Alex Mason, and Jason Hudson, go into Nicaragua to try to stop Raul Menendez. And when they do, they end up going into one of his houses, and immediately Frank Woods goes into a rage, throwing a grenade, killing Raul Menendez's sister, Josefina, and also seemingly killing Raul Menendez as well. At least that's what Jason Hudson tells us.
What happened, Hudson? Where's Menendez?
That's him, in a body bag. From this point on, the day never happened.
Now, to begin with, this in and of itself doesn't make any sense. If Jason Hudson saw in the body bag, he would obviously know Raul Menendez was not dead. So one of two things happened. One of the people who put him in a body bag told Jason Hudson that that is what happened, and then someone within the CIA either let him out of that body bag because he wasn't dead or hid something about him being alive, or Jason Hudson was in on it alongside Raul Menendez, being one of the members working for him within the CIA. Now, these questions were further amplified during the Panama invasion. Keep in mind, there were 3 years between the time of Nicaragua and Panama. We'll get to that in a second. But why was it amplified in Panama? Well, number one, Jason Hudson was the one on the radio giving comms to Frank Woods to take that shot. Number two, he was the one who organized the prisoner exchange, but from what we heard, it was because Raul Menendez had leverage on Alex Mason capturing his son, David Mason. That's why Jason Hudson followed in suit. But it was always a question. It was never understood why he would help out Menendez. Was he working for him, or was someone else and Jason Hudson just kind of got caught up in it all? It was an unanswered question. However, with this cutscene, it appears as though this tape might have some of those answers. Now, within Black Ops 6, it was heavily implied that Raul Menendez people within the CIA were then considered to be Pantheon.
There was a savvy play on someone's part to frame me for the Panama fiasco last year. The topic on everyone's mind. A mole inside Langley that gift-wrapped our best operatives for the Nicaraguan drug lord Raul Menendez. The papers incriminating me turned up at the exact time I started investigations into the Pantheon.
Turns out, though, Adler wasn't the first person to start investigating Pantheon. It may have actually been Jason Hudson in 1986. After they interrogated Kravchenko and they found out that he had people within the CIA, he then went and for 3 years started looking into the CIA, trying to find anyone who would be connected with Raul Menendez. That is where the tapes come in, and that is where Frank Woods said this.
Now I'm wondering, did he figure out the Pantheon silver bullet all the way back in '89?
The question is, who or what is the silver bullet? Now, I have this theory that immediately came to my head that he's referring to Raul Menendez here as the silver bullet. He's got really gray hair later on in life. Maybe there is some tie in there, but that is what is on the tape, whatever the silver bullet may actually be. And obviously the link with Pantheon as well. So with this cutscene, we have Russell Adler going into Avalon, and still we have the crime families that we know are in one way or another, at least one of them is working alongside Pantheon. That storyline is still going on, but with Russell Adler showing up, him getting given this tape by Frank Woods, the plot is certainly thickening, and it's seemingly pushing in the direction of old school Black Ops 1, which kind of makes sense, because I truly believe that by the end of this year, by the end of season 5 or season 6, whatever they finish off with, we will be somehow pushing the story into the year 2030-ish, because the next game coming out next year, set to be like Black Ops 7, is supposed to be a sequel to Black Ops 2. So with the rumor that they were going to be adding in Jason Hudson into multiplayer, it still might be possible. They might be putting out a skin as him, but they're not going to be bringing him back in the story. If they bring him back, it's going to be some sort of cutscene on these tapes that we are being given, which I am way more okay with than just being like, guess what? He wasn't in that chair, or guess what? He had an extra throat. Some people may even call him the throat goat.
What did he say?
But that is everything we know of the cutscene as of now. Jason Hudson is making a return, as is Russell Adler. The plot is thickening in Avalon, and we're seemingly going to find out more information about the moles within the CIA, what's going on with Pantheon, and some sort of role that Jason Hudson played with all of this that is going on. And I think it's a pretty cool way of doing it. If they start introducing these tapes season after season, implementing them into the story, it'd be cool. And even going as far as maybe to set up the game that is coming out in 2025 as well. So we should be getting the season 3 cutscene that might show us what is on that tape in the coming days, potentially this week or early next week. So make sure you stay tuned to the channel. If you like these type of story videos, I do them all the time, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. And until next time.
That old bastard was one step ahead all along.